I am your host, Knuckle Brew the host, and we are going to be discussing AEW Dynamite Wednesday from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. And my good people, this was an exceptional episode of Dynamite. Well, I might be overglazing just a second. This was a very solid episode of Dynamite. It did not overstay its welcome. The pacing was very great. And we had a very big return. Judas is back, everybody. Chris Jericho came back to a thunderous pop in Winnipeg. He came out. He walked down the type. Well, I can't even say it right. He walked down the runway, came up there, aura farm, soaked it all in, and came there in majestic purple. The man is in great shape. Like he done lost maybe about 15 to 20 pounds. Came out there, I mean, svelte, looking ready to pounce. This is walls of Jericho looking like Chris Jericho. This presentation of him, great. He looks like he's in good spirits. The pop was great for him at home. This was a great decision by him and Tony Khan to be welcomed back in Canada because this crowd was hyped to see him. He came out there, he got the mic, and he said, Winnipeg, I'm home. And that was it. Dropped the mic, got out of there. And this was before we was getting ready to open up with the contract signing for our match at Dynasty for the championship between MJF and Kenny Omega. And Chris Jericho just hijacked the opening of this show. Great. We're off to a thunderous start. So after this, we get the contract signing between Omega and MJF. And Omega, he takes the mic from MJF because they both signed the contract pretty quickly. Omega tells MJF to shut up. He says, these people are not here to see the champ. They are here to see the best wrestle. Now, when it comes down to Kenny Omega and his mic skills, it's very lackluster. But he was on point tonight. He got his point across. He had good energy. He did not come off lethargic. So he stood toe-to-toe with MJF tonight. And he was saying, like, if you're the devil, again, he said the same thing he said last week. He said, if you're the devil, then maybe the God of pro wrestling needs to come and knock you down a peg, humble you a bit. MJF takes the right mic back, and he says to Omega, do you know why Omega wants this championship so badly? Do you know why has such a sense of urgency to get the Triple B, which is the best prize in pro wrestling? He says, well, your God, Omega, has had a doctor's appointment lately. And the doctor said his diverticulitis makes his intestines, his stomach, a ticking time bomb. And he says that with this, we're going to show you that your God is nothing but a false idol who's better off dead. Omega flips the table, and we look like we're about to come toe-to-toe. There's a stipulation from this contract signing that says if we get any physical interaction, the fight is off. So we get Speedball Barefoot to come out here, and he's holding Kenny Omega back because Omega is just, his nerve has been struck. And Speedball says MJF thinks he's slick, think he wants to goad Omega into hitting him so he doesn't have to fight him. And I'm just sitting here thinking like, man, this is 2 straight weeks of Speedball Bailey getting into the main event scene. I am upset about it. But we'll come back to that later. MJF comes up here. He says, what are you doing here? Omega says, well, I got a doctor's info on you too, MJF. He says, so much for HIPAA violations. He says, I may have problem with my stomach. I'm losing about 24 inches of my intestines right now. But I'd rather be losing parts of my intestines than losing my balls. And MJF responds by saying, so you think I'm not prepared to fight him this evening? You think I don't have it in me? Omega says just that. He said, I don't think you have it in you, man. So MJF said, you can get it on right here tonight. And another thing, this country's a dump. Yeah, Big Hebrew is telling you that Canada sucks. I'm with it. This is great American heel work. He brought this same thing that he had a couple years ago with Ospreay. He brought back the American hero heel gimmick. It's wonderful. It works. He worked the crowd in there because the Canadians were not having it. And SpeedBall says, yes, we can do it right now in the great country of Canada. So, yes, we got MJF and SpeedBall in a championship eliminator match in our main event. And we go into our next segment. We see Ospreay and Mox are fighting backstage. We got a big brawl backstage between them. Ospreay's getting the best of Mox. We get the rest of the Death Riders come in, Shafir and all them to break it up. And Mox is just sitting there out of breath, like, man, what am I going to do with Ospreay? So we come back to that later. We get our first match of the night. We get the Demand versus Kenny Omega, Brody King, and Jungle Jack Perry. This is one of Tony Khan's favorite party matches. It doesn't mean anything. Our baby faces win. Omega hits the one-winged angel on Ricochet for the 1-2-3. Didn't really lead to much. There was not really an angle there. So we get our segment after this. We get Cope and Cage walking into the backstage, and they got steel chairs. Renee Paquette's back there. She's trying to question them and say, what's going on? And Cope, they're looking for FTR. And they just want to rip their heads off with these steel chairs. Christian Cage, our dirtball father figure of AEW, rears back the steel chair like he's going to hit Renee. Cope is like, no, we're not doing it right now. So they walk off. Renee is a mess up here just being threatened by Christian Cage, and we go on about our business. They go on to the next segment. Cope and Cage find members of the Don Callis family. They're the guys they find are the jobbers. I cannot think of their names. You might know them if you come back to them later. They beat them down. We're going to send a message to FTR. So they beat down the Don Callis jobbers, and we go on about our business. We got Pac and Ospreay in match 2. This match was tremendous. Very good match. It had great pacing. But to start the match off, Pac attacks Will from the top of the Tron to the runway, hits him with a brain buster, and we're coming in. They're showing that he's favoring the neck. The surgical neck that he just had. So Will comes there he's got security geeks up there checking on him with medical team. Will shakes them off, goes to the ring, and we get this match started. This match, like I said, was tremendous. Lasted about maybe 15-20 minutes. Pretty good. Pac was up here attacking the neck ever so slightly. I mean, we're stomping on the neck. I mean, just elbow drops on the neck. We got lariats. We got leg drops. We had the brutalizer. We had a spinning DDT off the apron to the ringside on Ospreay. And Ospreay ends up winning. He comes out of a brutalizer for a reverse pin. So if you don't see anything else from this match, go watch this match tonight. This was pretty good, and it was worth up to the billing of everything that we had. We had all the pretty colorful thumbnails and everything for this match. Great. So after the match, Pac is up there attacking Will. The rest of the Death Riders come in, and they're going to get their get back from Mox getting beat up backstage earlier. We got 6-on-1. They end up getting Will in the Pillmanized position, got his head in between the chair. And Mox comes in. He stops Claudio from curb stomping him with the chair. He says, oh, no, he says, don't let your head get you in trouble. He said, it's 6 against 1, Will. What did you think you were going to do this evening? He said, it's not personal for me, Will. So don't make this personal. They drop the mic, and they get up out of there. Will Ospreay was spared this evening because the Death Riders could have sent him on home for a nice long time. So after this, we had a Willow promo. Willow, she's up here showing off her title, says she's the face of TBS, and she'll be defending her title tomorrow on Collision against someone. Gonna be defending that belt against someone. So yes, we had Willow with the promo. Love Willow Nightingale. Tremendous champion. All right, we got match 3. We got the Brawling Birds, Mina Shirakawa, going against the Triangle of Madness. This match didn't stay too long. Pretty intense match. The Brawling Birds, they have been being set into a very big position. I believe they're going to be the one to take the titles off the Divine Dominion, maybe at All In, because the Brawling Birds are English or English adjacent. So that would be the proper place for them to win. So I believe the Divine Dominion going to hold those tag titles until All In, and we're going to keep pushing the Brawling Birds going their way. This should be a great battle going into the summer. So I can't wait to see it. But yes, the Triangle of Madness, they lost tonight. We had Jamie Hayter, his haterade on Julia Hart, and gets the win. Very good match. Didn't overstay its welcome. Very hard hitting. Mina got her get back on Tekla for the loss last week. So pretty good match. Also, I forgot to go to our segment. We had the Darby Allin segment. I'd be remiss if we don't talk about Darby Allin, because the Hoss is not big on Darby Allin. Darby Allin has interjected himself, he's entered himself into the main event scene. I can't stand it. I cannot see him with the Triple Beyond. See, we need Maxwell to hold that belt for a nice long time, because we don't need losers like Darby Allin coming there, getting this belt, and dragging his company down. But anyway, Darby comes out there. He calls out MJF, calling him the devil. So he wants this man's tirade to end. He can't wait to go against him, where he say he cannot wait for anybody to beat him, because he just wants this egotistical, self-centered tirade to end. So, and Darby says, why are we playing games with the Don Callis family, MJF? So he calls him out. Don Callis comes out with the rest of his family. I don't know how many members he brought with him today, but Callis comes in, he says, MJF has paid us a nice sum to take care of you. So if you beat MJF's appointed champion against you, you'll get your title shot in the future. And do you know who Don Callis says the chosen one is? Nobody other than Andrade El Idolo. So we are going to get Darby Allin and Andrade at Dynasty. This match should cook. I don't know how much beating that Darby's going to take from Andrade, because Andrade, he's not that big of a physical specimen to just be wiping the floor with Darby. But we know the crash dummy of Darby Allin is going to make this look very good for Andrade, and probably will get the win. So we'll see how that goes. So the Don Callis family, they come out there to assault Darby, and Darby fights him off with his skateboard, and Brody King and Jungle Jack come in to help him out. Next thing you know, the Don Callis family are gone. Brody and Jungle Jack are in the ring with Darby. They have history. They're staring each other down. Then Kenny Omega comes out here, and he does a face-to-face with Darby. I don't know what Kenny Omega got on. He not put on no clothes. It's weird. He came out here to a contract signing with no shirt on. I mean, he could at least put a suit on like your boy Big Hebrew. Could have dressed it up a little bit, a little suit and tie. But we'll excuse him for that, because his match was right after that. But he comes out again with Darby. This man is shirtless, got shorts on like he finna go hoop, and got on just some sneakers. This man just refuses to wear clothes in Canada. He's too comfortable at home, ladies and gentlemen. Kenny Omega is a weirdo. He's too comfortable down here. So after this segment, we have our championship eliminator match. MJF comes out. He comes out wearing the American hero getup. He got the stars and stripes on his trunks, on his bottoms, and his boots. He comes out. He does got the flag come down with this. We got the 50 stars. You got the MJF faces. So the presentation was off the charts. Way to get tremendous heat up there in the great up north. SpeedBall comes out with the Canadian flag. He's up here putting on for his countrymen, and they're gonna make this an America versus Canada thing. This works on Wednesday, pretty good, and it drums up great heel heat, because we got people here in America that's not even happy to be patriotic at this point. But what have you? That's different things. But this was good. It was a good match. This was really a speedball showcase, which I can't really stand because the presentation of speedball in the main event is laughable to me. This man just screams mid card. He comes in with the little kicks, and everybody gonna say, "Oh, he's got a black belt and he can whoop everybody's ass." I'm like, this is wrestling, Bucko. He don't look like he can whoop nobody's ass out there, but it's going on. He's up there throwing the knees, the kicks, did a standing Spanish fly. I mean, Speedball is a very good in-ring wrestler. I will give him that. But it's just the presentation. This is an aesthetics business. You cannot be up here looking flimsy, not giving good promos, and you think you want to hold the biggest belt in this business? I don't understand it. Can't have it. Can't have it. And another thing that comes with this, Tony Khan is loving this guy so much these days that it's just it doesn't excuse the power leveling that's going on. And it'd be like, Hoss, why are you talking about power levels? This is actually these are real human beings. Because this is supposed to be a fictionalized universe of wrestling. And Speedball is not supposed to be in the realm of our champion MJF right now, but it seemed like it was 75-25 for Speedball this evening. And if it wasn't for MJF and his ring psychology and really getting one up on him with his taunts, he might have lost his eliminator match. And we just can't have that. He already got jobbed out to Brody King for that eliminator match not too long ago, going into Grand Slam. We can't have our champion up here losing to these mid-carders. It's just disrespectful. So MJF ends up winning with a combination of a tombstone on the apron, and he hits the heat seeker, and he yells, "God bless America," when he hits that heat seeker for the 1, 2, 3. We had Kenny Omega on commentary. Again, didn't care. He's not great on the mic. He's a great in-ring wrestler, but on that mic, that boy terrible. So yeah, I can't even repeat what he said. He put over Speedball most of the match. He puts over MJF for being smart in the ring. But other than that, no one cares what Kenny Omega has to say. If he ain't up here delivering the goods in the ring, boy, Kenny Omega is no good for you, period. No good. Not entertaining at all outside of that ring. Nope. So MJF goes to attacking Speedball after the match. So, Omega comes in to help him out. MJF runs off. He says, "Man, you're a week away, you bum. You ain't got nothing for me, Omega, you bum. Got nothing for him." And that's right. Big Hebrew going over the god of pro wrestling. Big Hebrew, the devil, baby. The devil is Big Hebrew. And he's going to whoop that ass coming up next Sunday. And that's Dynamite, ladies and gentlemen. This, like I said, this episode didn't stay too long. Kept you engaged most of the night. Chris Jericho with the return. MJF up here smokes Speedball barefoot. Can't stand it. Get that guy some shoes. And Ospreay beats Pac, but he ends up getting that ass beat by the Death Riders. And just let me know how y'all feel about it. I enjoyed this episode of Dynamite, and I hope they keep the momentum going into next week as we go on to Dynasty next week as well. So don't forget, we have Collision tomorrow. Don't forget Collision tomorrow. They're gonna have you something to develop for next week. So stay tuned in for that. And this has been another episode of Over as Fuck. I'm your host, Knuckle Brew the Hoss, and thank you for joining me this evening. I'm gonna leave you with this, as I always do. Even though you may be down on your luck, that does not mean that you cannot be over as fuck. Have a good night, everybody.